What's up, BNOS listeners? Episode number 85, the first one of 2020. That's right, baby, 2020. That's crazy, man. We just finished a decade, and it was a stock market, bull market for 10 straight years. Wow. Hope y'all made some cash. Our guest today was Corey Shepard. This dude is the president of Sound Financial Group. They're basically financial advisors, and he runs a podcast called Your Business, Your Wealth. The dude was cool, very smart guy. He really gets in depth on financial advisory. We get, catch us in our deeper conversation there in episode 86, which comes out later in the week. But what we talked about besides that longest bull market was Carlos Golson. This is the dude that ran Nissan Mitsubishi, one of the biggest car companies in the world. This dude built it too. Got arrested in Japan, in jail, got bailed out. And then this week, this dude fled Japan. Somehow, some way, without passports, the dude escaped the country. It's like some crazy TV shit. So we get into some of that. And then we talk about this attack that the White House, Donald Trump approved. Basically, they killed a top Irani, kind of like their defense secretary, this dude named Qasem Soleimani. He's a major general. So top military dude. I had previously talked about oil prices going up, and they have been going up the last 3 months since I mentioned that. But I think they're done. Now that the U.S. has actually done something and attacked Iran back, I think oil prices are done. So I get into details about all of that. And then we talk about some other crazy shit like Yohimbe, which is a pill you can take, a natural pill that you can take that makes you feel more masculine. And then we talk about some other crazy stuff about cultivating contentment. We touch on it in this episode, but hit it harder in the next episode. Anyway, sit back, relax, enjoy it. Peace, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Corey Shepard is the president of Sound Financial Group. That's a badass name. Double meaning.
Thank you. Because we started in Washington State, so the Puget Sound out there. That's part of the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And then Sound like...
I feel like I've seen that on like potato chips or something. Or is that Cape Cod?
Cape Cod. There's a lighthouse there. There's so many parts about our name that make you think like you've heard it before.
Yep.
Even if you haven't. So people often tell me, okay, I've heard of it, and I don't correct them.
Yeah,
even
like,
if I think that...
Sure,
yeah.
Everyone has. We're Sound
Sure.
Financial Group. So thanks for coming on, man. So you're basically, by practice, a financial advisor.
That's correct.
All right, we've had financial advisors on in the past. Mm-hmm. None of them as presidents.
Oh, well.
So you've got that going for you right now.
Well, I should have worn a nicer tie. I don't even have a tie on.
So thanks for coming on, brother. And I can't wait to talk to you about some of the really cool things I've learned about you. I think a lot of people are going to learn a lot from some of the things you have to say, some of the things you've done. You also run a podcast called Your Business, Your Wealth.
That's right. Yeah. So we were called Sound Financial Bites for a while, bite-sized pieces of life and financial knowledge. And we made a choice to kind of separate those two as brands for a couple of reasons. One, Your Business, Your Wealth really points to the business owners that we work with that are most of our clients. And we work with a lot of doctors too. A lot of doctors want to be entrepreneurs and they have some things on the side. But someone who's owning a business in any other field probably won't listen to a podcast that's aimed at doctors. But doctors who are also entrepreneurs, they'll also want to listen. So it's an inclusive but niche creating kind of name. Yeah. And for all of our business owner clients out there, like, you have different parts of your business that you may want to have do different things for you. So we may not want a podcast forever. So now we're not selling Sound Financial Group if Hearst Media wants to come by our podcast.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. But
pray for it, it'll come.
The road is paved.
Right. And then I saw like you guys have done 170 episodes or something. 171. Is it that
many are right now?
I mean, I was checking out number 170.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, these guys are doing it, baby. I've not done that many.
Yeah, you've only been doing this for
like a year and a half.
How many years you guys 80 something, and we're like 3 years. So you're definitely catching up fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
But still, the commitment is what I respect, man. So much.
Well, everyone's got a podcast now.
Really? Like, it's starting to feel that way.
It really is. And I think part of why I wanted to accept your invitation was I saw that you'd been in it for real too. Like you're not doing 6 episodes and then we're gonna go do something else. Like
That's
you're
such
making a go of it.
Such a big thing, man. A big part of being Muslim is like finishing what you start. That's sometimes talked about as like an important part of one's life, you know, and to adopt that principle, you know, to take things to term, you know. So I don't know where this podcast term is, but I do know I want to commit and be like, you know, see where it goes.
Well, in the financial world, we call that holding a strategy. Like too many people are changing strategies so constantly, they never know if one's working or they don't get to see it play out through the end. It's kind of like if you started building a bike and you built half a bike and then you found out about a new kind of bike and started to build half of that other one, 2 halves of different bikes equals 0 bikes still.
Totally 0 bikes. Yeah. 2 half bikes that you can't ride.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. John, can you pass me the sugar? So y'all, we are thank you. Taping from Cedars. I had this wacky idea and I was like, yo, let's try and tape from the restaurant. So people who haven't heard before, but I'm sure most listeners have. My father passed away back in January. May God rest his soul. We're coming up on a year. And frankly, man, at the end of the year when New Year's hit, like right around 7 p.m., I was like tearing up. I was like, oh man, like this is the year my dad, 2019 was the year my dad passed. You know, it was like really tough for me to swallow that and take that in. But back in May, June, I was like, you know, figuring out what to do with all his assets. And one of them was this restaurant that we're sitting in. I was like, you know, let me make a go for it. You know, make a run at it and just see how this works out. And I'm so excited that it's been coming together. One of the things I'm most happy about is working with this wonderful man here, Amado Lopez.
Can they see Chef in the background? Are they getting that angle, John? Okay.
In whose camera?
Yeah, in my camera.
Oh, can you wave, Amado? Hey guys, that's Amado Lopez. If you're watching, if you're listening, he's wearing a blue shirt and he is cooking up he's smashing some potatoes right now.
Can I? I mean, I just learned about it a little bit of his history. Can I say
absolutely?
A word on that? Like,
do a little pitch, baby.
I'm so impressed. Well, he's Charlie Trotter and Rick Bayless trained.
Yes.
So, goodness gracious, anyone who's listening and knows those names, needs to come down to your restaurant today to try the food.
I love this guy. Hey, checks in the mail, baby.
That's right. No, I have to. Just to be clear for any regulators, I'm not accepting any side money like that.
Yes, we do need to be clear.
I do need to be clear about that.
We had a financial advisor read their whole spiel before.
Oh.
Yeah, they were definitely extra concerned about it.
I probably have to give you something to post on the notes of my.
Let's do it.
My team will. Yeah, we'll get that done. But
what'd you say? Oh, never mind. I thought someone was saying something. Yeah, so thank you for saying that. Yeah, I'm so excited. Amado's our head chef, and we are launching a new menu, listeners, and Corey and John Dolder. So we're excited about that. We're taking some risks. It's not just plain old hummus or falafel. We're shaking it up, twisting it up, making it a little bit more gourmet because Amado's got a lot of skills. Dude's got skills with a Z. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited about trying that out and. Yeah, come on out, listeners, if you want to experience some cool...
If you want to meet me, I'll come down. I'll be here.
Boom.
I'm checking it out.
You know what? I would love for you to come. You and I'll talk offline.
Yeah.
And we'll have you come out one of these days and do something.
Oh, I got
a thought for you.
Cool.
John has actually tried some of the new food that Amado's been making.
I'm jealous.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that, John?
Yeah, it was delicious. Everything on it was a hit.
We had some vegan items.
Which I'm not afraid of. I love meat, but I just like things that taste good. So it doesn't, vegan's great.
I'm the same way, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
I'm all vegan if it tastes great. And Amado does some cool vegan stuff. And then you also had some ground lamb. Do you remember that lamb dish you had?
Yeah, that lamb was great.
Meaty.
Just meaty.
John loves the meaty stuff.
Love the meat.
Oh man, there's so many double entendres here.
Yes.
Creepy, yes. So now we're taping from the upstairs kitchen. This is where we prep everything, and it's also our catering kitchen.
This is where the magic happens, folks.
This is the nerve center, baby. You can just feel the walls shaking.
My mom had a catering business when I was a kid.
Really?
She did a culinary arts program. She got some certifications, and we actually got to.
Dude, this is where your foodiness comes from.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No question about it.
Listeners, Corey loves to cook some badass food.
Love to cook some badass food, primarily because I wanted to eat badass food all the time. Didn't want to have to wait around for anybody to make it for me. So we got to, for the local Christian radio station where when I was growing up in Maine, she would cater the concerts for.
You grew up in
artists.
Maine, you said?
Grew up in Maine.
Okay,
yeah.
so she'd cater the church events?
For the radio station would bring in the artists.
Nice.
A lot of times it was at the really big churches, a couple of conference centers, and so I would get to poke my head in and meet some of the people. Yeah.
That's kind of cool. But more importantly, you were watching your mom cook up a storm.
Learning from her education, and running a business. See, this food, entrepreneurship, it's all cool. Wrapped in there for me.
That's cool. You kind of grew up like me a little bit in the food business.
Very little. Like, this was for a couple years at the end of high school. Okay. I did. My introduction to sales was when she would do baked goods at farmers markets in the summer. I was her salesperson.
Nice.
Yeah, I'd load up the truck and
Did
go
you have
out.
a spiel or something?
Oh, I mean, I just had the truck full of stuff, and I was, a couple samples, all the lemon bars. You got to try the Irish soda bread, all that kind of stuff.
Did you have like a shtick or like where you'd like, get your lemon bars? Did you do any of that shit?
I tried it a little bit, but then we almost got kicked out of the market. Like the East Coast, we're fine. No.
That'd be great. Loud New Yorker or Chicago and just going into Maine.
Just going and yelling up a storm. Well, technically I grew up in Maine, like kindergarten through high school there. But if you're not born there, you're not from there, right? So I was from Chicago, never really from Maine, but never really from Chicago, never really been from.
Would they give you shit?
Not.
You're not really a Mainer. What's a person from Maine?
A Mainer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you got it. You got it right. In college out in Seattle, friends would say, like, "What? So are you like Maine-nites?" No,
Maine-nites.
Mainer. No, they have an old saying, like, if a cat has kittens in the oven, you don't call them biscuits. So
if a cat
has kittens in the oven,
you
don't call them biscuits. So what that means, this is my old
I like your
action, right? Is if my mom had been in the car driving from New Hampshire across the border to Maine, and I was born in Chicago, but right on the New Hampshire side, I would still not be from Maine
because
I was born in
the cat had the biscuit.
Kittens in the oven.
Yeah, have no idea what that means, John. Do you?
No. Do people in Maine look down on like people from New Hampshire?
Well, I mean, they're like, oh, I went south for the winter, and I wasn't even like, people say it's warmer, but like it's just still as snowy in New Hampshire. Like they're kind of like, oh, you're down there. Yeah.
I would think people in Maine, because they're the northernmost state. Am I mistaken by saying that?
So they have Alaska.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was going to say
the easternmost point in the U.S. is in Maine.
Okay.
Yeah.
I picture Maine as like always the northernmost of the continental United States.
Yeah.
The Canada of the
I
United
think the
States.
latitude's pretty similar to Washington, if I remember, because I've looked this up before.
Yeah.
But it's definitely colder. Definitely like feels more northern.
Right.
But what about it?
I was going to say that, Maine, that's why Maine's always looking down at all the United States. Right. In more ways than one. They're physically looking down, but they're also like, you Southerners. Anyway.
It's more like, I feel like New Yorkers would be looking down at the rest of the United States. Mainers are more like, just leave us alone.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you can come up once a year to look at the leaves in the fall.
Right. Or the blueberry bushes. I hear about
blueberry
those.
Bush. Yeah.
Let's get back to the kittens. So they're saying, did they make this saying up?
So there's a Maine comedian. Yes, this is a style of comedy. I should have brought this up. Comedian right here. So his name is Tim Sample, and his whole shtick is, it's kind of like Larry the Cable Guy, but old Mainer kind of guy. And that was one of his
Maynard Dunn.
Maynard
Dunn.
As opposed to like get her done?
Right.
Yeah.
Maynard Dunn. And so he says, if the cat has kittens in the oven, you don't call them. Which means if the cat is pregnant with kittens in the oven, You don't call them
biscuits because you bake biscuits in the oven, but just because you put kittens in the oven, they're not. Doesn't make them
because biscuits are baked in the oven.
Right.
You don't call them biscuits. Yeah, you call them kittens.
Kittens. So if you're
What does
from
that have to do with
away,
Maine?
you're from away. Well, you're either from here or you're from away.
New Hampshire, wherever. Chicago.
Right.
Got
New
it.
Hampshire,
Damn.
Vermont.
These Mainers are intense, dude. They came up with that saying.
But it's a wonderful place to grow up. I had a great time.
It seems like it.
Yeah.
It seems super white, I got to tell you. I can't picture a black or
You were
an
not
Arab
wrong.
dude.
You were not wrong. When I was in high school, the big news was there was a giant Somalian population that was brought in, when there was a big refugee event that happened. So,
Really?
So that was shocking.
Yeah.
Like, what are we going to do with all these Somalians? Yeah. But it's like, well, they're just going to live here like anybody
They're
else.
gonna be human beings. We're gonna fucking relate to them.
Right. Right.
How do we do that? That's crazy. I mean, wow. I mean, first of all, who decided that a bunch of Somalis should go to Maine? Like, where did that decision get made in the United States?
I don't remember why that happened, but it was like, I guess we got some space. Like, what?
I feel like there was someone, a minority at the refugee department, that was like, we need some brown people in Maine. Let's send them to Maine.
I also heard Minnesota has a large Somali population. I think it's just like...
I've been there and I've experienced them.
Yeah. It feels like someone that Department of Immigration just had like a sense of humor. Like, what's the one place...
Right.
What are the places in America where you could just put all these people from...
I'm waiting for like the Alabama version of that. Like where they just take a bunch of like Ethiopians
Norwegians.
Norwegians.
Norwegians?
I was going to say some really brown people.
Yeah.
And put them in Alabama. That would just suck for everyone. The Alabamans and the
no one would be happy.
Some Mongols.
No one would be happy. Would you say
some Mongols?
Some Mongols. Do Mongolia exists, right?
Yeah, Mongolia. Yeah.
That'd be hilarious. All right, let's get into this show because I could talk about.
Oh,
this
we haven't started. Are we recording?
Yeah, we've been recording.
We've been recording.
18 minutes.
Yeah, we're 18 minutes in, but I could talk about. I'll tell you what. Corey's a talkable kind of guy.
Yeah.
Is that a word?
Sure.
Why not? Why not? Yeah, I
English is a pure mutable language.
Boom, there you go. Killing it, Corey.
Probably made that one up too.
I think that one really works, permutable. Yeah. So, okay. We just a whole bunch of shit's happened. I just got back from Dubai and Amman, Jordan. I was in the Middle East for 2 weeks.
What? Really?
Yeah, my cousin got married, so that was exciting. Congrats to her. And then Dubai, we did New Year's there, but my wife's family is from there. So we visited them. My wife was born and raised in that area.
It's actually kind of a cool place to be, even like for a Westerner. I hear Dubai is fun to visit.
It's like they built Manhattan in a decade and a half.
Wow.
Can you imagine all those buildings just getting thrown up in a decade or two?
No.
It's bizarre. And you go there right now and there's cranes everywhere. They're still building. It's fucking bananas. And it's really interesting when it's nighttime and you look at a lot of these buildings, especially the residential ones, and you see how many lights are on. There ain't many lights on.
It's like downtown Chicago. Half of the condos are like someone
empty.
bought it to have it in there.
And the thing with the difference with Dubai and Chicago, I don't think anyone's bought the ones in Dubai yet.
Oh, they made them, and they're like,
I think they like really believe in that whole American, statement. If you build it, they will come. I think Dubai's still waiting for them to come.
So I could get a good deal in Dubai right now.
Yeah, the prices are down a little bit. I checked up on it, but not that much. They're a lot of it is government driven and public-private partnerships. So the government has got tons of money. Well, Dubai itself doesn't have tons of money. Abu Dhabi and the country has tons of money, which kind of props up Dubai.
Sure.
They're kind of their backstop. It's like that, rich uncle you have or something. Dubai's rich uncle is Abu Dhabi. And so I think they can afford to have this. They keep building and building and building. They have this big thing called Dubai Expo 2020. So this year they're doing a 6-month, and it's called The World's Greatest Show.
Ooh.
And they're bringing in like people from all sorts of countries to make some sort of big special. I don't know. It's an expo. I don't know. Whatever. I didn't look into it too much, but they're promoting the shit out of it.
Can I be old for a second?
You've been old this whole
like
show,
man. As I get older, I'm such an old man now. A thing that has a ton of people brought in for no other reason than that one thing is like less and less appealing to me. I'm like things happen in Chicago where like, oh, there's this race or this event, and like, oh, go to Taste of Chicago. And I'm like, me and my 100,000 closest friends, like I want to go to a place where no one else is there and experience it and like relax and do.
I don't know if me and you are
old
just.
man.
I think I'm becoming the same way, which scares the shit out of me. I'm 39. John, are you that way? Do you avoid crowds?
What? Yeah, I'm a total introvert.
Yeah, you are. I guess you're not a good example.
Yeah.
I'm getting the same way. Like,
I like people. Like we're really talking about going like mix it up with. But I just want to give me an Uber to get down there, so I have to park and deal with all that.
That's for sure. But even getting in there and then like, so many people around, I just sometimes feel like suffocated. That's what I feel when I'm in some of those times. Right. But then there's other times I will say this, like sporting events and other things like that. I do like to go to and experience that, or concerts.
The shared experience of that. Yes. So there's a balance. Like there's some that I would do, but I like the concert where it's just a little bit like, I don't want an arena, but I want like 800 people, 500 people where I can still kind of smell the artist.
Have you been to Thalia Hall?
I haven't.
In Pilsen?
No. I love Pilsen.
Have you been down there, John? Thalia Hall?
No, I haven't been.
Dave Chappelle did his special there.
Okay.
And I saw, what's his name? How's his name escaping me now? Oh, geez, I forgot his name. The comedian that used to be on, you guys might not remember this, Remote Control on MTV. Did you ever used to watch that?
No, I didn't. I didn't have cable in
How's
Maine.
His name escaping me?
Oh,
really?
I mean, we could have, but my parents didn't.
Yeah, I got you. His name is I saw someone else there at Thalia Hall. Anyway, it's kind of that 500 to 750 person venue, and it's awesome. It's
Perfect.
awesome. Yeah. So anyway, this show, getting it started. So we just finished a decade. I was in Dubai. I was in the Middle East for New Year's, and it occurred to me, and I started reading some of the papers. We just finished one of the longest bull markets in a decade.
Finished. Who knows? We don't know that it's finished, but we're in the middle, right?
The bull market?
Yeah.
Correct. We're not done with the bull market, but it just thinking about 2010 to 2020.
Sure.
And the fact that it was pretty much a bull market that entire time was kind of bananas and bonkers to me. 10 straight years of stock market growth. And it didn't feel like the internet was invented or a new huge mortgage product was invented.
There wasn't that one driver, that one big thing.
No.
It just was like,
it wasn't technological. It wasn't a huge technological advance. It didn't feel like, although there's been a lot of technological advance. It wasn't a huge policy, a huge like global phenomenon. I mean, China has kind of been a story for a long time, but honestly, in the last few years, China's been slowing down. The last couple of years,
like 10 years ago, it would have been the reason why what has happened didn't happen. Right?
What do you mean by that? Yeah. That was confusing.
10 years ago, China people would have talked about that as a reason why not to have a bull market for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I guess I would have agreed with that.
And then they think the opposite is like we still have, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think basically it was policy. Right. I talk about this on the podcast a lot, which is like the Federal Reserve and the U.S. government signing off on pumping trillions of dollars through something called quantitative easing, a really fancy name for basically printing cash and giving it to banks, and those banks giving it to a bunch of people who are willing to, who the banks are willing to lend it to. So we've had that big, crazy ass bull market the last decade. 2020 just finished. Sorry, 2019 just finished. That decade just finished, and it was a stock market run for 10 straight years.
It's been amazing. I think back to earlier in my career, because I was a young advisor in the midst of the 2008 financial crisis, everything going crazy. And so I remember like the first, 4 or 5 years of really doing it on my own was just everyone being like, everything's so bad, everything's awful. And you're right. And I think back, like, no one's been talking about it. Like it's just been growing. Now, a lot of people then say, well, we're due for a downturn then.
Yes. Yeah, I've been talking about. In fact, I made a call. I made a couple calls in the last few months. One was that oil would go to $100. I did that on September 23rd. And then the other was we are in recession. People just don't realize it yet. That one was ballsy and it hasn't really fully panned out, frankly. But I believe, and this is true, that recessions don't actually show themselves until after the fact that they're kind of happening.
Well, because someone has to. I mean, a recession is labeled or named. Like someone looks back and says,
exactly.
well, I will conclude based on what I've seen. I mean, it's what the news does all the time. When anyone in the news says, well, the Dow rose in light of this thing happening, they don't actually know that.
No.
They saw an up or down, and they looked for a story that was positive or negative and kind of put them together and put it on the news.
Yep. And then somebody read it and they clicked on it, whatever.
So a recession could be kind of the same. Like, depends on how you define it.
Define it.
Right.
Right. Oh, snap. I'm losing a microphone issue here, John. You can help me with it.
Hold on one sec.
It's a good chance for me to get some water.
There you go. Let me
Press
hit
me
you up
down.
here.
Oh, thank you.
So I that was one call I made. It was oil and that we're in recession. I was just seeing Germany and Japan and all these countries like China just have major slower growth.
Yeah.
And I was like, something's not right here. Why are we continuing to have some growth? I think what's actually happening here is we have a lot of momentum, and that if and when that momentum runs out, we're pretty much in recession. Thanks, Sean. And so that's what I'm thinking is we may indeed be in recession right now. We just won't know it for several months from now. Yeah. So those are the two calls I made. I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest with you.
Can I say something about this long upward run means for the market in the future?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people think that the longer we're going up, it's like, oh, we must be due for a downturn because we have market cycles. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's not actually true. Like, nothing about what has happened means that we've got to be turning down anytime soon. Like,
right.
If you look at all these studies of whenever the market's at a new high, I don't know, something like 80% of the time, like 3 years later, it's at a new high again. Like, this is back to, and I've heard some of your episodes and some other advisors on here, and they're like, buy and hold for the long. Like, all of that is the same. And people can get kind of caught up in the emotion of the news cycle and, oh, is it now the time to go into cash? Well, if your money should be invested, it should just stay invested, probably.
There's a dude named Masroor. Love this guy. He was one of my favorite guests we had on. He did some homework. He worked at Deutsche Bank for a while. He did some homework, and he said, what if I did buy stocks over the last 30, 40 years at the highs, but I held on to it?
The worst time, quote unquote.
The worst time to buy, but I held on to it. Would I have earned the average 10% in the S&P 500? And the answer was yes. You could be the dumbest idiot, but as long as you buy and hold, and you don't try and time the market, you can buy at the peak and be okay.
Well, because so far, that's always the disclaimer. The market has always had a positive expected value.
Yeah.
Because it's going up over time. So as long as it's not money that you might need next month or next year, then
invest it. Exactly. Thank you, John, for moving that.
That's not financial advice for anyone listening.
There you go. Thank you for moving that big old canister. One of the producers, producer Chris Broad, had told me, don't put anything in front of your face. Oh. And I think I just did that. So, Chris, A, I'm sorry, and B, go screw yourself.
And I've only gotten an email, Chris, so I won't say anything.
You haven't met him?
No, I haven't met him.
Send him threatening emails.
Am I messing up your video by turning over like this? Because I kind of, is that okay?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
John wants you to send him threatening emails from now on.
Send Chris threatening emails?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
Set up an anonymous email and then just send something.
What should the username of that
stuff
email?
Threatening and sexual.
Right. I've got a burner account. Anyway, you should set up.
Really?
No. But I thought about that. Like, if in 10 years I need to flee the country like Carlos Golson, then I should set up like a Yahoo email address right now, just back there,
John Dolder 169
right
at gmail.com.
How did you know what I was going to use?
John's just pissed because Chris punched him in the back of the head once.
Yeah.
Wasn't nice.
Yeah, he broke my windshield when last time that there was something in front of the armor. Yeah, and then spray painted.
Broke a windshield?
Yeah.
Chris broke John's windshield.
Yeah, and then spray painted
a swastika?
a swastika and
Yeah, and then he
the
took a
N-word, and then he took a shit in my windshield washer.
Okay, you're making this
washer fluid. So like whenever it came out, like I was expecting to clean my windshield, but it was broken. So whenever I hit the windshield washer fluid, it would just be crap going in my face every single time.
So literally, Chris, for a week straight, shat in John's face.
Yeah. Literally, and that was
Corey's
punishment
like,
for
what the
having
hell am
something
I
in front of
doing?
I'm
Amr's
feeling like I
face.
should have listened to a couple more episodes before I said yes.
Before he said yes. All right.
Yeah, I had a black eye in one episode. It was pretty brutal.
Wow.
Yeah. So you send those threatening emails to
Yes.
Chris as fast as you can.
Will do.
All right. So my buddy did that homework, and basically the bottom line is you can even buy it at the wrong time as long as you buy and hold, you're good. All right. So speaking of Carlos Golson, let's jump to him real quick. So I've talked about this dude. This dude was the CEO of Nissan Mitsubishi.
Like top of the world. Like
Literally a automobile titan, right? This guy was the biggest swinging dick in cars. You know,
which has got to be, because if you're going to find a bunch of those, it's going to be in the car world to begin with. So
probably,
it's pretty,
right?
yeah.
Look at Elon Musk. That's a big swinging dick. Who would disagree with me on that?
Well, I don't know. He's very fuel efficient. Like, electric cars, are they like?
You're right. You know, remember that one dude Kareem who was like, "Yeah, I can't buy an electric car." We're like, "Why not?" He's like, "I need like."
Right.
That's true. You need to have that kind of. It's that like vibe of having a car. I guess
You can put a speaker and a subwoofer in the engine
make it sound like
yeah,
that.
and just record a Mustang.
Right.
Yeah.
Record them. You know, we're probably going. That's probably where we're going.
Totally.
Is like electric cars, and then you just have the sound of those. So anyway, he was that big swinging dick in the world, and then he was also head of the partnership between Nissan and Renault in France. He's a citizen of France and Lebanon.
Okay.
And this dude was accused of financial crimes. I don't know if he did them or not. My gut tells me he probably did do them.
Probably did do them, yes.
Right? Like, I think this dude made tons of money and was probably stupid and was like, I'll just have Nissan pay for this $13 million mansion in Tokyo. I think he did it.
They'll never notice.
They'll never notice.
It's not a car. They don't care.
I built this company with my two hands. It was a shitty company. But no, the Japanese, Hiroto, I forget his last name now, his right-hand dude, basically ratted him out.
Do you know how much money he made as CEO? Because even $13 million, it seems like that's a really small number to ruin your career over.
I think it was like he was making like 30 to 50 million, especially including stock each year. So like, who cares about? And my whole argument was, why did they knew this guy was like leading the ship of a huge company around the globe. Why not just take him in an office, slap him on the hand, and be like, "What are you doing, you dumbass? Give us the money back. Don't do it again. We won't report anything." But no, they reported him to the authorities and all this other shit. And now he's going to Japanese courts. And it was like, I was like, you know, based on the little I know about Japanese culture, you know, they're not going to like this non-Japanese dude. And he probably broke the law, and they're going to probably prosecute him to the fullest extent. And you're dumbass, Carlos, for doing that in a country where you're a foreigner. But he did it.
Now, I read a little bit about this and that he's unaccounted for at the moment. But was he actually like in a prison? He was in a jail? Like he was arrested. Yes, it wasn't like he was on bail or anything. Like he was arrested.
He was arrested, and he was in prison for quite some time, probably upwards of a year. They finally accepted bail. So he paid them their whatever, 10, 15, $20 million in bail. Japan announced, and so then...
So he didn't tunnel out of a prison cell. Like he got out of there first and then...
Correct.
Okay.
And then the news this week is the dude has somehow, some way, escaped from Japan. This is not a third world country. This is like huge amounts of border security.
They got cameras everywhere, don't they?
Totally.
Yeah.
Surveillance country, you know? But the dude somehow gets on a plane and flies to Turkey, switches planes, goes to Lebanon. Now he's chilling in Lebanon, probably in some sort of mansion, eating grapes, drinking wine. And
Dolmas, maybe?
Dolmas, probably, for sure.
Love me some Dolmas.
That's what happened with Carlos. I think he's like half Brazilian, half Lebanese. And And so Lebanon's, they're not going to extradite him to Tokyo. They love having a millionaire / I don't think he's a billionaire. They love having a guy that powerful.
So did he get all of his money out of Japan? Or he probably was keeping it elsewhere?
I'm sure he's not stupid. It's just Swiss bank accounts, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not dumb.
Well, he's dumb enough.
You're right. He is dumb enough. You're right. And you know what else? This dude was living a jet setting lifestyle.
Yeah.
Davos here and this there and, New York City penthouses he probably owns and all this other shit. Like, he made a pretty big move by fleeing Japan, right? Like, he can't just jump on a plane and go to different countries now because they're going to try and arrest him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure Japan has agreements with America and, other countries.
Like, he's holed up at home.
He's kind of holed up.
Yeah, he's grounded.
He's probably like 60, 65. So, like, dude, he's got some time to live. So, what a twist to this story that I thought was crazy. I just can't believe he escaped Japan. That's my biggest thing.
So do you think he hiked into the mountains and he has access to a private plane? Like, it wasn't going to an airport. He wasn't getting
Oh no,
out.
his Japanese lawyers announced, we have his passports. I think they even showed them, like, we've held these we've confiscated his passports. We held them based on court rulings.
To get him bail.
Probably, right. So the dude fled the country without passports.
Wow.
Right?
Well, I guess good for him, but he's a dummy. If whatever he did to get, he got caught, but he was going to get caught because there's no way you're not going to get caught if you're building a $13 million house. But I just can't get past that. Like, you don't need that house, or you don't need to get it illicitly when you already have all that much money.
Success.
Yeah.
I just think this guy's living that kind of lifestyle where, like, he needs an extra $10 million every now and then.
He's not cultivating contentment.
No, he's not. No. We'll be talking about that in a minute with Corey, baby. Guys, when we get to that, Corey's not just a financial advisor. Corey helps you cultivate contentment, which, man, I got to tell you, that's an easy sell for me. I struggle with contentment. I'm not going to lie, man.
It's not an easy process. Especially because, Madison Avenue, the advertising engine of our country, like, that's a much scarier body to me than Wall Street. Of course, I'm familiar with Wall Street, but as far as who the American public should be worried about, Wall Street gets a lot of bad rep, but Madison Avenue, like, they know how your brain works better than you do. They know how to exploit
crazy,
that.
Dude. I feel so taken. I feel so violated.
Because they're in your head every time. Like, your phone is I'm looking on my. I stopped using Waze. I loved Waze when
I use Waze
out.
right now.
Yeah, Waze rules.
Shit, Waze, you gonna turn me off Waze? Damn, what happened?
I'm so done with Waze.
Because they're tracking us, right?
Well, that's what helps it be useful, because they're tracking all the cars and they know, right? So that's great. But I'm trying to turn on the lower whacker, and it's telling me, no, turn early and go to Dunkin' Donuts or McDonald's. So that's not safe. Like, I already shouldn't be looking at my phone. I mean, it was in a cradle, hands-free, all that stuff. But then
don't worry, dude, I'm not going to give you a ticket. You don't have to tell me all that.
Yeah. An ad pops up, and that's I have to decide if I'm going to go. No, of course I don't want to stop somewhere else first before where I'm going. So they're done. I don't want to be advertised to. I'm doing everything I can to cut out as many advertisements as possible, because it's just more things that I didn't know I needed and don't really want.
This guy's no longer going to big events with lots of people. He's no longer except concerts. He's no longer participating in American advertising. He's no longer willing to be a target of American advertising. You're basically going off the grid here, Corey.
I'm going to become my own grandfather. So it sounds like. Yeah.
Wow, Sonny, in my day, I used to listen to Facebook and watch Instagram.
I'm trying to figure out how to go to sleep without having my phone next to me I use it as an alarm clock.
Me too.
But I just want to but I want to be able to, like, listen to have some good music. I don't want just like a
before bed. You mean? Oh, when it rings?
Like when it rings. Like, I want to be able to choose what
You don't use. I use the blowhorn. Is that what it's called? A blowhorn?
No, I have. What do I have right now? YouTube Beautiful Day is my.
So wait, you can set your alarm up in such a way where YouTube Beautiful Day.
Yeah.
And dude, you're kind of. Speaking of advertising, you're kind of like a commercial for contentment. You wake up to Beautiful Day on your phone. John, are you?
All right.
John, would you describe yourself as content?
Not really.
I really struggle with being happy.
Yeah, just
anxiety and depression are like kind of like I have that for breakfast instead of coffee.
Oh yeah, it's just what I wake up with. That's my coffee. It's just
I got to be thankful for a minute. Like I'm so blessed. I have a beautiful son and a beautiful daughter and a beautiful wife at home, and they light up my day all the time. I will FaceTime sometimes with them when I'm feeling like shit.
That's great.
And they lighten it up and brighten it up, you know. So I got to be. It's not cool. If it wasn't
really
for them,
cool.
it's beautiful,
Yeah.
right? If it wasn't for them, I'd be totally depressed and anxious more than I am right now. But man, they like saved my life. I've been listening to I'm trying to become a better husband, so I've been listening to a book.
Nice.
By John Gottman and his wife.
Gottman Institute.
Yeah, you know, baby?
I know.
Oh, right, you're a Washington guy.
Yeah. I have a friend who works with them. Like,
no.
Yeah.
Like a researcher?
She's a therapist.
Get the F out of here. Dude, I could use someone like that.
I'll hook you up with Taylor. Yeah.
My wife and I are both on our second marriages, and the Gottmans say 50% divorce rate in America on your first marriage. 66% divorce rate for someone in their second marriage.
Well, that makes sense.
It does make sense, right?
That's just a statistics problem. Like you're sorting for, you know, like you've
the
already
worst marital,
right,
the worst person in the couple. Third marriage, I'm on my second marriage. Third marriages, 75% divorce rate.
Wow.
Why do you even get married? You're hoping for that 25% chance, I guess.
Well, and is fourth marriage like 95% success? Because you're already so old at that point that you're like, don't have any.
Fourth marriage is shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
Shotgun divorce right after the shotgun wedding.
Just done.
So I'm listening to this Gottman book, and they basically say like, yo, a quality marriage or a quality long-term relationship, same-sex couple if you're gay, heterosexual couple.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Married or not married, just committed long-term. In a quality relationship makes you way more resistant to disease. You're more immune from disease. You add years to your life, like not a year or a few years, like a decade or two. Okay. And it's like medicine against anxiety and depression.
Unless you marry a doctor, and then you're more susceptible to disease.
Really? Why? Because she's bringing it all home?
She's bringing it all.
I hope your wife's not listening to this podcast right now. She's like,
she doesn't
what?
have time, so yeah.
Too busy?
Right. She's working 24 hours right now.
I hope she listens to this and she's like, I did listen, you asshole, Corey. All right. So
that sounds exactly, how did you haven't even met her. No, it sounds nothing like her. You know, our big thing, like this is my non-professional marriage advice, is that we've been married 8 years, and first marriage for both of us, and it's always being on the same side of the problem. Like a problem happens and people start arguing about it, and if you like visualize two people fighting, they're facing each other, like the problem in the middle, going at it. Yeah. And the way we like to think about it is we're like the problem's over here, and we're standing next to each other, looking over there at the problem. Like,
do you guys sometimes physically do that?
It doesn't get to that point. Like we're like if we're having discussions, we're usually like touching each other. Like we like to like sit and like, you know, like one arm over it. So that also helps too. It's hard to continue to be really mad and like angry, yell at someone when you're like holding their leg or something like that.
Corey's great, dude. I need more of Corey in my life, man. See, I'm
going to be hanging out at your restaurant a lot, eating Topolobampo style food.
There you go, baby.
Yeah,
man. Wow, that's great, dude. I could learn a lot from you. My marriage would get a lot better if I hung out with you. So would my morning wake-ups with a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I did walk out today and tell all my family, it's going to be a wonderful day today. And then I accidentally slammed the door. I was closing the door and my son's head was right there.
It's going to be a wonderful day. Whether you like it or not.
Get over that crying, and the day's gonna be much better. And then I put everything. I almost walked out. I'm like, wait, what the hell am I doing? I put all my shit down. I'm like, I gotta pick up my son.
Oh no, poor guy.
Little guy, I know, he's awesome. So I have no idea how I got off on the tangent. Oh, health and life. Yeah. So Golson. Don't know how we got from Golson to Gottman.
Contentment. That was what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And cultivating contentment.
I keep derailing. Do you get derailed this often on your podcast? I think I'm the reason.
It depends.
This is part for the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
this
good.
is about even.
Yeah, even. Even Steven. So that's Carlos Golson. What's the conclusion with Carlos Golson? I think he's a clown. Like, I think he effed up and he thought his quick bailout would be to go to Lebanon and live out his years there. But I don't know. Just be accountable, man. You benefited so much from Japan. You live there, and they now want to throw you in jail for a few years or something. Just fucking take your medicine, dude. Like, that's right. Be a man about it. Instead, he escaped because he felt like he wasn't going to be treated fairly. I don't think he was probably going to be treated fairly, but that's the bed you slept in for the last couple of decades was Japan and being head of Nissan. You know, he just wanted the positives. He didn't want the downside, and I think that's kind of a wuss, if you ask me. And the lifestyle. This guy is a jet setter, right? This guy is like, he wears the shades. He lives the celebrity lifestyle. He can't do that anymore. Working out of Lebanon or being in Lebanon, no. You know, you're not passporting and flying around the way you used to in Switzerland. So he's gonna, if he wants to live that lifestyle, I think he's gonna have to pay the piper in some way. He's gonna have to go to court somewhere. And if it's Lebanon, what are they gonna give him, like a year in jail? It'd be like Pablo Escobar kind of jail where he lives in a mansion, probably. You know.
But how would that work? Like, would the Japanese say, "Oh well, okay, that's fine then," if you were in jail in Lebanon for a little while? Like,
I think that's what the Lebanese and Carlos are hoping for, but that ain't gonna happen. No, the Japanese they're not gonna.
No.
Moving on. All right. So the other thing that's been happening in the news, and definitely want to hear your opinion on a lot of this. Major General Qasem Soleimani. That's me using my Arabic to pronounce this Irani man's name. This dude is kind of like, I don't know, their Secretary of Defense, Iran's Secretary of Defense. Donald Trump and the White House approved a strike to kill this man. And what people aren't hearing about in the news is that they killed a whole bunch of other people who were close with this dude. Some Iraqi people and I believe some other Iranis. So
yeah, he wasn't the only one who died in this attack.
Correct. Even though his name is plastered all over the news, the U.S. Attacked and killed several people. It was at Baghdad Airport in Iraq. So this is nothing to sneeze at. The reason the U.S. did it was because of a couple of attacks last week by Iran. I don't know if you guys heard about this. A U.S. contractor, an American contractor,
I read about
killed.
a U.S. contractor was killed. It's like a security person,
Yes.
Blackwater kind of
Exactly.
thing, whatever that
Blackwater kind of thing, yeah. And then there was an attack on the United States Embassy in Iraq, in Baghdad. I don't think anyone died in that, but there was an attack on the embassy. And I believe
that's a big deal. That's U.S. soil, quote unquote, right?
Quote unquote, it's right. As I understand it, that part of Iraq is literally owned by the United States because the embassy sits there.
Right.
And that's true for every country who has an embassy there.
Right.
So the U.S. believed Iran was behind that. And this time the U.S. did something. In the last several attacks, Iran attacked Saudi oil facilities. U.S. did jack shit. Iran attacked some boats that were carrying oil out of the Persian Gulf. U.S. did jack shit. And I think there was something even before that U.S. didn't do anything. And that's when I had been like, yo, oil prices have to go up. Iran's going to keep poking the bear. And lo and behold, that's what they did, right?
Yeah.
But now the U.S. did something. Not that I'm a Trump fan, but like that's kind of like at least Trump made a decision and firmly went forward with it.
Right.
That will, I think, stop Iran from further attacks. Now, Iran has vowed to attack the U.S. That's what they got to say, I think. But I don't know if they really will because now the bear responded.
I appreciate you saying, not that I'm a Trump fan, and a fairly moderate statement about him. Like, I've noticed, like, these days, especially in the media, it's hard to get anything but I absolutely am in love with and in favor of everything he's ever done, or I hate him like he's a demon.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of a jerk a lot of the time and bombastic, but he's a person. Yeah. He is.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah. I completely agree. And we completely forget about that because we do demonize him. I do think a lot of the behavior he does is jerk. I mean, it's clownish sometimes. Mm-hmm. It's unpresidential. But that's his style, and that's what he's doing. I don't agree with it. I don't like it.
Right.
I prefer he wasn't there. I don't like Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I don't like him. I don't hate him. I try not to hate anyone.
Right.
I don't want that in my heart.
Yeah.
I don't think, that only hurts me. But at least like in the previous Iran situations, he didn't make a decision. I felt like it was kind of like a wuss thing for him to do.
Right.
Like the whole criticism with them attacking Saudi's oil facilities was like Trump called up Saudi's president or Saudi's king and was like, yeah, so what do you want me to do about this? It's like, what? Like, you know, the Saudi king didn't know what to respond with. That guy, I don't think he has much of a backbone. So, but no, Trump did something this time. A lot of people disagree with it. They actually think this is going to cause a more global war, a bigger Middle Eastern war. I don't think it is. I don't know this shit too much, but I don't think it is. I think what's actually going to do is actually going to tamp down a lot of shit.
Well, so is Iran really going to say, okay, U.S., let's go one-on-one? Like, no, they have to get some kind of coalition behind them.
Yeah.
But what's that? That's not really going to turn into a full-scale war, it seems like.
Exactly. I think Iran's whole thing is they're trying to get more power in the Middle East.
Right.
And if they were to really poke at the bear, they just kind of get destroyed, and then they would lose all the edge that they currently have in the Middle East over Saudi and the UAE, Dubai. That's I see it like that's the big war in the Middle East. Is like you've kind of got Israel, Saudi, UAE on one side in America, and then you've got, but really not even America, just Israel, Saudi, UAE, and then you've got Iran, and they're all jockeying for more power. Who can rule the Middle East? And Iran's got Lebanon and Syria kind of in their back pocket, and then Israel and Saudi and UAE have America in their back. So it's not really, you know. But anyway, this made sense also not just from a policy perspective to attack, kill this man. It made sense, I think, from an election perspective.
Well,
the dude just got impeached.
If he can turn himself into a wartime president,
Ooh,
oh man, yeah.
Oh, Nelly. He would love that, right? Like suddenly you've got veterans and everyone and America, you know, like flags in cars and all that other stuff, you know, in front of houses, and like we're at war now, you know. Get you some of that Yohimbe. What's up, y'all? That was episode 85. Crazy, right? Yohimbe, John, crazy, Corey, cool, right? Make sure you catch us on episode 86 later this week, where we get into a lot more detail about what does Corey do and how can he help you make more money. It's going to surprise you. It's not straightforward. The dude's got some cool strategies he uses that he works with clients. So make sure you catch us episode 86 later this week. Peace.